Hey, good morning, everyone. You are watching Ludicrous Feed live on Saturday morning here in Sydney, Australia. Today is the 22nd of July, 2023. And you are with Tom and Riz from Carloop. Hello, Riz. How are you?
Hey Tom, going well. Bit of a chilly morning in Melbourne. How you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. A little bit chilly as well in Sydney, but certainly blue skies outside. So, yeah, thanks for joining us this morning. And thank you
No
also
worries.
to everyone who's tuned in this morning as well on the live stream. So, if you're watching us live, welcome. You're very welcome, and leave a comment as well. If you're watching us on replay, make sure you drop a comment too. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to us on audio podcast as well. Got a few people on the chat this morning already. I can see we've got H2 Rider. Hello from cool and sunny Sydney, and Paul from frozen Canberra. And Jeremy also saying, well, morning from warm Brisbane. He's got a question there. My Saturday question: are continent-specific charging plugs workable? For example, do you need an adapter to drive 3,800 kilometers from Hong Kong to Bangkok? Yeah, so we're going to touch on that in a bit. Good question, though. I think most of Asia is also using CCS2, if I'm not mistaken, Riz, from memory.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I guess we need to confirm it. That's why we're waiting for the EV show in Thailand to invite us to find out.
Yeah, that'd be a great road trip actually across Southeast Asia, Hong Kong to Bangkok. Kenny is also joining us. Hello, happy Saturday all. Good way to start off a freezing Melbourne morning. Of course, if you're tuning in from the Northern Hemisphere, welcome. Make sure you say hello too. I've got hello from Jim and hello from Kef1. Hello, morning from the Gold Coast. Nice to see you there. Riz, how have you been? You been all right?
Yeah, been good. Just lots starting to happen in this space. We've got since sort of the Dolphin launch, there's been a couple of other models that have sort of come to market. So lots happening in electric vehicle space, which means that all the good work that we're doing is working.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited to see how much progress we've made in Australia over the last 12 months for sure. We've got Greg as well joining us. It says morning, too cold for ring up this early. Never too early to talk about EVs, Greg. You know me and Riz. Oh, Gaffer's on too. Hello, Gaffer. Nice to see you. Oh, Riz. All right, Riz. Let's kick off the show. Let's talk about something.
Yep. So I think we'll sort of get started with BYD. It seems to be every week we're talking about them launching in new markets, and they've started again this time in Chile, Morocco, and Brunei. Um, it's yeah, I guess they're starting off with some of the more affordable models, as well as some of the more premium ones there as well. The Tang, which and the Han that we don't get here.
That's right. The Dolphin will be a good seller, I think, worldwide. It's certainly very affordable, as you said. In Australia, it's going to be selling from 38,890, making it
Yeah,
the cheapest new EV, which is good. Yeah, we don't get the Han in Australia.
yeah. So that's their big sort of luxury sedan. And we also don't get the Tang, which is their large SUV. So maybe those two are some of the models that Luke Todd has previously, in the last couple of months, spoken about that BYD is planning on launching 4 new models into the Australian market in the next 18 months or so. So we already know the Dolphin, we know the Seal, but yeah, it would be interesting to see whether it's the Han and the Tang, or if there is some other models that they plan on bringing into Australian market.
Yeah, that's right. And the Atto 3 obviously is a very good seller here in Australia. I think still the number two uh, brand of EV in Australia at the moment, which is really good to see. Very affordable, good value as well. And starting at around 50,000 on road for the extended range. So that's good. So we're seeing it in Chile, Brunei, Morocco. Yeah, we probably should maybe, I don't know, tally where all these countries are, as in where the cars are in in the countries that we've talked about so far.
Mm.
Maybe map it against Tesla to see, the difference, which markets they're actually entering.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would be the key. I mean, Tesla recently, we spoke about it on Thursday, sort of entered the Malaysian market now after entering uh, in Thailand earlier this year. So Tesla's sort of focusing on some Southeast Asian markets, but obviously BYD is heading more towards South America, Africa, Middle East, all of those markets that are, I guess, at this stage, and Israel that currently do not have as many EV offerings.
Yep. Look at this price of the Dolphin in Chile is 30 million Chilean pesos, which is 37,000, presumably US dollars.
It is, yeah.
So it looks like we're getting a cheaper model here in Dolphin. I don't know, Riz, I don't know whether the Dolphin there is going to be the very low end one that we're getting here, or is it going to be the sort of more premium the one that they're getting as the starting one?
I think with that sort of pricing, it would more than likely be the European or the ones that we'll be getting in Australia. So it'd be interesting to see once once the cars make it there, what the local reviewers sort of mention and if there are any differences. But the specs should be up soon, so we may come back to those.
Yep. Yeah, it'd be good to see that up against the MG4 as well, which we'll do later on in the year. Kaushik saying, put down a deposit for the BYD Dolphin Premium. Any news on its safety rating? I don't think so as yet, Kaushik. Probably we've got to wait for the NCAP rating first. All right, Riz, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, so speaking of ANCAP ratings, Volkswagen had their ID4 and ID5 get a 5-star safety rating as it goes up for sale in New Zealand. So we haven't really heard too much from Volkswagen since they sort of launched the Cupra Born under the Cupra brand, which is roughly the Volkswagen ID3. So this ID4 and ID5 SUVs are launching soon in New Zealand. You can pre-order them, and I think from memory, you'll receive it by September for early orders. So yeah, good to see. But ANCAP did make a note in there that their certain elements like car to pole crash test they do in the spec that is being sent to New Zealand, and I'm assuming Australia eventually, they don't have that active safety features to give it that higher score for that sort of an impact. But in Europe, they offer that. So ANCAP's advice to Volkswagen is to try and bring the European variant here. And that's a bit of a screenshot of what the Volkswagen ID4 configurator looks like in New Zealand. So 150 kilowatts of power. I think from memory, it's the same as what the Atto 3 has. Slightly larger battery with 519 kilometers of WLTP range, I'm assuming there.
Yeah, what kind of size are we looking at that, Riz? Is that Atto 3 or a bit bigger?
It might be a little bit bigger, and I think last week we sort of touched on the Skoda Enyaq. Skoda Enyaq, I believe, is based off the same platform with the same sort of size of vehicle, so it might be slightly bigger. One thing I found quite interesting is the pricing is 79,990 New Zealand dollars because of the clean car discount, which according to that has been reduced to $7,015 in this financial year. So you're getting that car for probably 72,000 drive away or something along those lines. The configurator looks somewhat similar to Tesla's, like it's, back in the day, a lot of the legacy OEMs won't want to go down that path, but it seems that since BYD has sort of simplified it a little bit more to look like Tesla, now Volkswagen's doing it as well. It's only a matter of time before everybody adopts the good design and the ordering process that Tesla has.
That's right. If you can't beat them, join them, right? The simplified ordering, straight to customers, charging standard, drivetrain on the floor of the car, one screen infotainment unit, simplify the vehicle. People will buy it. Efficiencies and manufacturing, all good things.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Volkswagen does bring it here. Funnily enough, every time they've had one of those big Canberra showcases where we've got the ministers and others, the ID Buzz, the ID4, and I think one of the other ones, Cupra Born, makes it there in front of the, that iconic, I'm not even sure what it's called in Canberra, with that big tower in the back in front of the Parliament House. And you just think that, surely it's not far, but New Zealand seems to be getting a lot more electric vehicles than we are from legacy automakers.
Yeah, New Zealand tends to get them very quickly. I'm hoping Volkswagen will improve their connectivity when it comes to the ID4s, because as you guys might have seen my review of Cupra Born, it was just a little bit disappointing that you can't update software, no navigation, just a few things like that that leaves it lacking. So hopefully when the ID4 does launch here, it will be fully functional as it is in Europe. So yeah, thanks Riz for bringing that to the front. All right, let's move on to the next article.
Yeah, so this one was an interesting one. There's a trial for an electric bus going on in the, I think it's University of Newcastle.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a brand called Photon. I believe they are originally from China, and they've got some electric trucks and some buses that are making it into Australia. So universities, I guess, want to look progressive. So having an electric bus does make sense. It'd be interesting to see sort of how this trial goes, and whether universities more broadly across Australia will be implementing this to offer as a service to students, either between wherever their dorms are to the campus itself, or around campus, or some universities have multiple campuses, so between campuses as well.
Yeah, no, it's certainly good to see more electric buses around town. Certainly when you're walking around the city, it's so refreshing to hear, or not hear, a bus rattle past you with a diesel engine. But having an electric powertrain is so good. And it makes sense too, around university campus where there are a lot of pedestrians. It's better for everyone's health having a quiet, no emission bus or zero tailpipe emission bus. So hopefully this will do well, and it will spread to other campuses in New South Wales and in Australia too. So looking at seating for 44, peak power 245 kilowatts, and a CATL battery as well, which is the same as our Model 3, Model Ys in Australia too, which is good. And look, charging within 90 minutes using a 240 kilowatt DC fast charger, that's like nothing. You can top up half of that battery in like lunchtime, right? It's amazing, really.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. And look, I think having a shuttle bus too, like not just for universities, but I'm just thinking of other applications, like for let's say nursing home residents who want to get to the shops, having a private bus that gets them there to the local shops, maybe even school buses as well around our big cities, doing the same route every day. It's predictable, so yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, let's take some comments now from the chat here. We've got Hassan is saying, any chance we'll see that hardware for Model Y coming soon? I ordered a Model Y long range a few days ago. Yeah, that is the $70,000 question, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at this stage, we don't know a lot what will be happening in Shanghai, but Elon Musk did say in the earnings call on Thursday that there will be factory upgrades across their global factories in Q3. So if that's a sign that there'll be some sort of upgrades, they didn't say whether it was Model 3 or Model Y. They're making some change. So hopefully Q4.
Q4, not too long now. Sanjeev, any latest news on Model 2?
Not a lot more, apart from the fact that the mayor of that part of Mexico where this model will first be built at, I guess you can call it Giga Mexico. When that's, he sort of said that, it's not far from the groundbreaking ceremony as such, because all the permits and approvals have sort of been made. What I'd be more interested in is where will be its brother or sister factory, because Tesla likes to build 2 factories at a time. It just makes it easier to procure parts and other things as well. And particularly for the next generation platform, we've only got 1 factory so far, and there's been a lot of talk with European prime ministers as well as Prime Minister of India and many other parts of the world as well, South Korea, around a potential factory investment by Tesla there. So that would be sort of we're hoping to hear that before the end of the year, so that when Mexico does start, it's not far behind that as well. So that would be interesting, and both of those factories are expected to make the Model 2.
Yeah, like a smaller Model 2 makes a lot of sense in a lot of the world. Like, the European streets are very tight, and Southeast Asia, very, very tight roads, parts of India. So yeah, I think the Model 2 would do very well, a smaller car. The Model 3 is sometimes just a bit too big for those kind of roads. So looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, and got a fan there for you, Riz. Han Solo, always great to wake up to a morning, Riz.
Anytime, Han. Thanks for
that. Greg's asking, is ID4 due for a refresh?
I think it is. That model they tested for ANCAP, it said 2021 to 2023 is the model year range that they have tested. So I'm assuming there's one coming. I know the ID3 has or is about to get a refresh in Europe. That was the reasoning or excuse, depending on how you look at it, that the Volkswagen local team gave us when the Cupra Born was launched. When it was asked what's happening with the ID3, it's basically the same car, and they said, oh, we're going to wait for the refresh in 2024. So I'm thinking that it is due for one, and hopefully, as Tom, you said earlier, they improve the connectivity in these cars, because at the moment it's not good enough for someone to purchase a car for $70,000 plus in Australia and for it to not have basic connectivity.
Yeah, I think we've been all spoiled by Tesla having over-the-air updates every couple of weeks. The car just keeps improving, right? And there's a bug, just fix it within the next one. I'd be very frustrated having to bring a car into the dealership to get it updated and then having to pay for the pleasure too. So just keep that in mind if you're buying a new EV. You really want a car that can update itself over the air. It just makes life a lot easier. Comments from Gaffer: we don't need a trial for electric buses. They just work. I agree. Just choose the bus you want to buy and go for it. Yeah, it's just makes a lot of sense on our city streets. People sitting in cafes on the street. You don't want a smelly diesel bus rattling past you, spoiling your breakfast and coffee. It's just, yeah.
Gaffer and yourself, Tom, raise a very good point. And this was sort of my thing, having been involved in the transport sector for so long. When they first announced the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, or in sort of regional Victoria, I was thinking, how are they going to get people out there? Will look very silly getting people off the plane onto a diesel bus into the airport, into the city, which is the Sky Bus, because we don't have a train. And then from there, putting them onto another diesel bus or a diesel regional train, Reline, and then shipping them out to Ballarat, Bendigo, Geelong, wherever these events were going to be held. And we needed electric, this was an opportunity to electrify most of the bus fleet, but all we're doing is more trials. So Gaffer, spot on, we don't need trials. They work. London, everywhere else, they use them. China's got tens of thousands of them. So they work, just get them on our roads.
Yep, no, correct. And one of the biggest users of electric buses is actually the Sydney Airport EMU bus. The long-term car park is all electric buses. So there you go. There's your trial right there. It's working every day. Just look at that. Yep, I agree, Gaffer. Good point. And he also says, I was walking along the Wollongong Beach forefront, and there is a place where buses park and wait and idle to go on their routes again. So noisy, so smelly. Bring on EV buses. I couldn't agree more. And yeah, at a lot of schools, buses just idle there when the kids are right there, making the asthma worse with the diesel, polluting right there in front of the children. So it's just crazy. It's very much on the nose, literally, in 2023. So yeah, good point, Gaffer. And Billy did says solar panels on the roof of the buses. Yeah, why not?
Ooh.
Bring it on.
Did
Yep.
you see, Tom, the Genesis G80, I think it was, the big luxury sedan that Genesis launched, or the electric version of it anyway, G80 electrified, that had a solar
Yeah.
panel on the roof?
Yes, I did see it. It's in their showroom in Sydney, I believe. I've seen it. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
go and have a look in Pitt Street. Yeah, it's I don't know how effective it is, but I guess if you're idling and parking there for a few hours, might as well get something, right?
Yeah. I think there's good opportunity to have sort of charging on the go, even when you're charging at a fast charger, getting a few sun rays in. I think it was a small panel, like 200 watt or something like that,
Yeah,
but it shows you on the screen inside the car what it's generating.
yeah. Oh, it's nifty, Why not? Why not? They're nice looking cars here, Genesis. And yeah, HD Rider, my local university has diesel buses and an EV charger seems backwards. Shame, really. Greg saying, if you're concerned about hardware, would not be buying any Tesla for the next 6 to 12 months. Both Model
Yeah.
3 and Model Y due for refresh. No, good point, Greg. That's probably more than likely. Hello, Terry. Nice to see you there. Says, morning, guys.
Jerry.
100% guys. The debate that gets lost with most in the media, clean air is massively underrated. Hugely underrated, how I 100% agree. You could talk about where the energy comes from and the life cycle of the electric cars, but at the end of the day, you're still polluting with tailpipe with the ICE vehicles on our streets, and that's bad. You're making life miserable for everyone with emissions on our roads. So already health benefits with EVs with no tailpipe emissions. Great point.
For anyone that's interested, I think the American Lung Foundation or Lung Association has done. They do. I think every year they release a report about this, and the health benefits are just in America alone are huge. Like they're talking like hundreds of thousands of lives saved every year because to reduce the amount of diesel and petrol vehicles and buses and trucks on our roads, the air quality will improve significantly. So, and proofs in the pudding. China has no option but to go clean because
Yep.
they've got smog and pollution and everything else due to manufacturing and other things. So they've been doing it for years and it works. The cities are cleaner and so much better than I guess they would have been 10 years ago. So it's happening. We just need to shift a gear on EV buses.
So to speak. Yeah, 100%. Yep. Yeah. All you need to do is walk along any street in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth. You'll smell it straight away. So you don't know what that's doing to your lungs. So let's electrify our streets. All right, Riz, let's move on to the next article, shall we?
Yeah, so back to BYD again. Tang EV in Ecuador, I think. Another part of the world where EV options are probably limited. But this is a good thing because what bringing these EVs into the market also does is encourages some of the local manufacturers to think about manufacturing EVs in the local market as well. So that's the Tang, the much larger SUV. It's available in Europe at the moment, as well as China, and it's going into many other markets. And maybe this could be a replacement for a CX-9, a Mazda CX-9 or Toyota Kluger. Hopefully fully electrified because they do have a plug-in hybrid version as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were disappointed that the Tang didn't make it to Australia because that would, as you said, a nice substitute for those larger SUVs on our roads there. And yeah, I mean, we can't help but talk about BYD entering these markets, which is good. Ecuador is in Central America, so yeah, very good to see. And that's quite a nice size for a family car, really.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's available in as a seven-seater because that's one segment of the market that we don't have many options in at the moment in Australia. There is a Mercedes EQB that you can option with 7 seats. But apart from that, the Tesla Model Y, we don't get the 7-seat option out of Shanghai. So yeah, that's another market or segment that, we could potentially it'd be good to have a vehicle in that market.
Yeah, and of course now the X is now no longer available to order in Australia too, which is a shame. So we've got the Tang in Ecuador, 7-seat SUV, 509 horsepower, 700 newton meters of torque, and 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds. That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
And of course the BYD's Blade battery too. So yeah, good to see there. Very good. Yeah, there's an auto show too. I can see. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's what they're launching it. So we've got 3 models there: Han, Yuan Plus, and the Dolphin in Ecuador now. There we go. Yeah, and BYD. I'm just reading this here. It says sold 250,000 new energy vehicles in June, up 89%. So they're doing very well worldwide.
Yeah, especially launching into these new markets at the moment. There is, there is some parts of the world at the moment. We won't see these sales numbers in the until probably later this year when they actually do deliver the cars to those customers. So with that in mind, they're opening up markets, which means they'll be selling way more than 250 odd thousand a month. So yeah, good time for the brand.
Yeah. Let's take some more comments here. Got another fan for you, Riz there. Riz for president. I'll definitely vote for Riz.
Oh, jeez. Thanks, Rider.
And Screamer, I hope they bring in the Leopard 5. Oh, what's the Leopard 5?
Ooh.
Well, look. What brand is that? You heard of that, Riz?
No. It's
BYD. Oh, it's hang on. Feng Cheng Bao. Have we heard of that one?
no.
It's a BYD's new brand.
Oh, is that Denza?
Let me put this up here.
Unless it's no, yes, there isn't. Yeah, that's right.
Looks like a Defender type thing or Land Rover.
So that's
Wild.
like their. You remember they recently, maybe about 12 months ago, launched their super premium brand, the Yang Wang U9 or something. That.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So this. Oh yeah, they've got Denza and.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Interesting.
Very good pickup.
Yeah. Look at that.
That is very Land Rover.
Yes.
Defender-like
cool.
looks.
Yeah.
So what did they say price-wise around lean the Model 850, which is around what, let's just say $75,000 delivered in Australia or landed. If it's in 7 seats, it would sell.
Yeah, they're very popular on our city streets, these Defender type or Land Rover type cars. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Awesome.
It's good. Here we go. A comment from Hal. Do we need another user-based body in Australia who are more proactive in media circles, or is the EV Council and NRMA doing enough? Growing FUD is frustrating in regard to both EV and renewables. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we've been dealing with FUD for the last how many years since the EVs have started entering the country. So I'm not sure if another body would really do. I mean, I think the EV Council are doing pretty well, and NRMA are doing good things already. I don't know, Riz. What do you think? Do we need another body to deal with this?
I think there is definitely opportunity for another voice in this electrification space. You'd like to think it comes directly from the federal government themselves, right? Like they can't just keep saying they're going to do these things. They have to do them. Like we need, fuel standards and a whole lot of other things around making it happen. So, yeah, I feel everyone needs direction. So if the federal government can have a next version of their strategy with a bit more guidance as to this is what we're going to do, this is the role of the states, this is the role of the private companies, then private investment and everything else just moves forward, and the manufacturers can stop, beating around the bush and actually bring these cars into the country, right? They're doing it in New Zealand. We're seeing that. But yeah, hopefully they can realize themselves, or the Teals and the Independents and the Greens and others, that are more that understand a little bit more potentially around the climate change and the impact of health by cleaner vehicles and cleaner transport, um, can put a case forward and say, let's make it happen. There's no point beating around the bush anymore.
What I'm starting to see now is that traditional auto publishers as well, like motoring magazines, they're starting to report more on EVs, which is very interesting. That's the shift is starting to happen very slowly. Maybe kicking and screaming. I don't know. In the past, it was kind of more anti-EVs or questioning EVs. Now they're starting to report possibly borderline positive stories too. And even in the mainstream papers like the Herald here in Sydney and the news.com even, certainly ABC is doing some good things. So yeah, I think, the more voices, certainly the better.
I think that's part of the what needs to change as well. That if we are sharing this with people that we know, we sort of touched on it the other day as well, around this clean transport and what it all means, the bigger picture. If we share that vision with people, hopefully they'd like to come along as well. And moving forward, let's hope that things do change and things change quickly. It's media, you mentioned interestingly, Tom. They used to be, even 6 months ago, they were so anti-EV in general, right? All the things around Tesla's catching on fire and when we know they're not true, right? All of those reports. Every day there's 10, 20 plus cars that catch on fire, internal combustion engine cars. Never get reported. The brand never gets mentioned. But because it was clickbaity and Elon Musk and all of those things, that's what media wants to see. And that sensationalism around something that is important for our society, I think it doesn't help. And then we've got, on the other hand, our government here in Victoria just sending questionable messages towards what we want to do versus what we need to do.
Yep. What really frustrates me, actually, now that we're on our soapboxes, is politicizing electric vehicles and renewables. Like, honestly, it's not left-wing or right-wing for me. It's just getting our society healthier. For me, that's the bottom line. So I don't care what you vote. I want to see EVs on our street.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be politicized. It shouldn't be the left-wing pushing this agenda or the right-wing against this. It's everyone's health. You speak to someone at the bottom line, they want their lives to be healthier. They want their children to be healthier. This is it. You just move to electric vehicles on our roads. We've got safer, cleaner streets. Sorry, that's my bottom line on a Saturday morning right here. So just get past your biases. Get past your biases and just think of everyone's health. Anyway, that's from me. H2 Rider, good point again. Kia EV9s, that's something I'd like to see certainly in the country. 7-seater, I think that's probably due very soon from Kia. Yep. Kevin's joining us. Hey, Kevin, nice to see you there from Florida. I hope he doesn't mind me saying. He does say that quite often. Nice to see you there. Kev1, nice to see another mainstream Aussie car manufacturer now in the EV space. Yeah, be difficult. We don't really make any more cars in Australia, and on the mass market anyway. Dilshan, hi guys, long time fan, first time joining live, loving what you guys do. Oh, that's very nice of you. Thanks, Dilshan.
Thanks.
Very nice. And Greg, Hyundai released pictures of the new Santa Fe this week. No news on drivetrains, but I would expect PHEV like the current ones. Pretty crazy new styling. Yep. Interesting. Let's see if I can find a pic of that.
Yeah, I tried to dig a bit deeper into that one as well. Greg, I think it's ICE only or plug-in hybrids, whatever you want to call them. And I think they've actually that might be the previous generation. It's a lot more boxier, Tom. Not there is another one that they've just announced.
Okay. Let's see if I can find that.
And yeah, so from the earlier photos that I've seen, it's I think the Leopard 5 has inspired the new Santa Fe.
Yeah, I can just see. I think it's this one. Let's have a look. I'll just put the screen up here. Are we talking more like this one? There's still the
maybe it's the 2024.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
this one?
more boxier, slightly more boxier than that as well.
Oh yeah. Well, that one already looks quite Ionic 5-ish, doesn't it?
Yeah,
The
it's that
Staria.
Kona.
Interesting. Anyway, well that's good because I quite like the Santa Fe. That's what a car that we used to have back in the past before our EVs. So it's a very good family vehicle for sure. Thanks, Rick. Mania, I find driving my Model 3 is more relaxing, and when I get to work, I'm happier and I can think a lot clearer, and probably better for your musculoskeletal system too. Riz, we've talked on this in the past. Less vibrations through your body
Yeah.
with a rattling ICE engine not there. So 100% good for your health all over. It would be great if the NRMA could advocate and update the public about battery improvements, recycling, longevity, plus environmental benefits over ICE from mining to pollution. I think they've just launched an EV hub recently, the NRMA.
Yes.
So that could be something you could look into. Yep. Ryan saying the real awesome benefits of EVs are greatly reduced brake dust, yep, and exhaust pollution like the soot that lands everywhere, and things like stable energy supply that's not reliant on overseas tensions. That's right. Good points. Cool. All right. Oh, Riz, you got a picture of the Santa Fe? Let's have a look. Yes. Okay. Let's have a look at this one. All right. There it is there. Very boxy.
I mean, the rear, I don't get it.
That's very square.
It's like an evolution of those Nissan Cube.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, look at the inside of that too. Wow. Very interesting.
Very Hyundai-esque, that dual
Yeah.
screen.
Cool. Oh well, look, I think the more the merrier. If it's an EV. Oh no, it's not an EV. It's still a nice car, isn't it?
Yeah, I think plug-in hybrid is as close as they're going to get.
Yep.
To this one. Maybe there is an Ionic 7 or something. That's the EV equivalent.
Greg saying looks like a Defender.
Hmm.
Yep. Oh well, no, look. Let's electrify it. And Gaffer saying boxy and light bars seem to be the current fashion. No, it does, doesn't it? It does seem that way.
I wonder if that's Cybertruck inspired, the sharper. Well, it's not that sharp, but it's boxier to a certain degree. But I don't know what the aerodynamics of this car will be.
Certainly, cars cycle between boxy and curvy, I find, over the years. Don't you think, Riz?
Yeah. Sometimes they're far too... I mean, Hyundai went through that shift. They made their cars extremely sleek. And now it seems to be going a little bit back towards that boxier shape as well, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, have you got anything else for us?
So a brand we don't often talk about, Fisker, has... I think they've just started deliveries in the US. They're making them in Europe. And now they're planning on entering the Indian market, which is a bit of a surprise because we know Tesla's been in discussions there, and Tesla doesn't directly sell cars in India at the moment. So due to taxes and other things for imports. So yeah, interesting to see a new brand with... From all accounts, this car is pretty well received with American reviewers and European guys that have driven it. So I think it's a bit on the expensive side, but at the same time, all EVs are at the moment, and it seems to have a lot going on for it. So good to see it sort of, moving out of the US as well. But hopefully they can deliver more than the very limited run they've produced so far.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing about this brand, Fisker, over the years, as long as I've been following EVs. So they're still around, still doing stuff. So yeah, the Ocean, that's right, the Ocean. So 69,000 pretty much, 113 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's huge.
Yeah.
360 miles. I'm not sure about the efficiency of that, to be honest, but yeah, big car. 20-inch wheels. Interesting. So they're looking at Q4 potentially, 2023.
Hmm. They have been producing a limited run for the European customers, as well as starting to send a couple to America as well,
Mm,
in the US. So yeah, I guess they're sort of doing what BYD is doing, but I guess BYD is producing cars at scale at the moment.
mm.
So yeah, good luck to them, and hopefully they can get their production up, and we will potentially see some on our roads in the coming years.
Yeah, that's right. Question for Riz. When will the new Kangoo EV panel van and MG4 models finally land? They are so overdue. Well, we know the MG4 is coming in August.
Yeah, so the next month, MG4, at least the test vehicles or press cars, whatever you want to call them, they'll be here. And we'll know more in the next month or so when the first customer deliveries are for the MG4. Funnily enough, from all what I can understand, MG doesn't have a proper way of ordering it. You have to secure a spot on their website then a dealer will ring you, and I guess the dealer will place the order or something like that.
Mm.
Um, and on the Renault Kangoo, I've not heard anything more apart from, I guess, recently driving the Peugeot E Partner, which is somewhat of a similar sort of van, but I think Kangoo might be a bit taller. But no updates from Renault on that one.
It's a shame because the Kangoo EV is a great little panel van. Because there's one in our local council's got one,
Hmm.
or the adjacent council's got one for their library, and you see that running around, and they charge in the basement car park of the council building. So it's a cool little concept, and obviously works for them. So that little size is really, really quite good for deliveries, for purposes like that for council. And Riz, I think as we've touched on this in the past, this is where electrification will happen through councils, through fleets as well. Changing over because they can control their fleet, changing over to EVs, and that'll encourage more to do it too, I think, over the years.
Well, hopefully they'll learn quite quickly with this new curbside charging grants that we spoke about on Thursday as well. That those that haven't sort of dipped their toes into the EV space with that charging program, they'll all learn, and then hopefully want to put some pressure on their fleets to get more electric vehicles as the options increase.
That's right. Let's take a few more comments. Greg saying Hyundai seems to have standardized the two
Yeah.
screens like the Ioniq 5. Yep, very true. That seems to be across the eGMP platform actually, with
Yeah.
Kias as well.
Genesis.
Genesis, yep. Oscream is saying Ioniq 7 prototype due next year. Okay.
Essentially, yeah.
Yep. And Glenn, hey Glenn, currently charging Model 3 at 5 kilowatts, 100% from solar on the roof. Yeah, how good's that? And around 1 kilowatt spare to power the home. How good is that? Is that using Zappi or Charge HQ, presumably, Glenn? Is that excess solar? Good question from Billy Lid. Aerodynamics, why design a boxy-shaped car if it's if the rounded edge is better at the back? Interesting question.
That's what I was thinking as well, Billy. That it should be like, surely we've learned now with how inefficient some of the other OEMs electric vehicles are anyway. That that means we're burning more fuel. That means we're putting more emissions into our atmosphere. So
Yep.
no clue why they think that's a good idea. But I think these sort of things, these manufacturers need to be called out for.
Yep.
Like surely, anyway, yeah.
Fashion over, what's it? Form over function.
But at
Fashion
the
over
same
function.
time, when they released the Ioniq 6, they call it the Streamliner because it had a lower coefficient of drag than the Model 3, and it is an efficient car. So then on their ICE range, that's like all of those design cues don't even matter anymore. But yeah, they need to streamline, like the screens, they need to streamline their designs as well.
Yeah, for me, the fastback or sportback look makes sense. Like the Model Ys have got the sloping roof, and the C40 for the Volvo brand too as well. The air's running off the back, more efficient vehicle, makes sense. Thanks, Glenn, for clarifying that. Charge HQ, thank you. All right, and Peugeot, Peugeot Expert EV also announced for local deliveries in 2024. Thank you for that. Riz, let's wrap up with a few more articles before we finish today.
Yep. So speaking of the Peugeot E Expert, they did announce, or the managing director did mention that there is an opportunity that we potentially will get the E Expert, which is a bigger van, into the market by sort of 2024. They didn't say early, mid, or late. Once again, this van is available to purchase in New Zealand. So we haven't got any, and there are plans for them to bring some in. So hopefully it will be, that segment of the market is untapped at the moment. There aren't many options, and given the pricing, I think it's priced around 70 something thousand in New Zealand from memory, or 86,000. So, if they can land that here for 75 odd thousand as a work vehicle, fringe benefit tax and other incentives, if it's eligible for those, for business owners, I think, and also like people want to see these delivery vans be more cleaner and electric as well. So it's a good thing for business to do. So fingers crossed we see them next year.
Yeah, I think if they can do vehicle to load or vehicle to, like an appliance, a two-way directional thing, I think it'd be good as well. Tradies would love that. They can power the tools as well at the same time, or power on site. So yeah, good to see more of these around. Be very handy, I think, for plumbers, electricians, landscapers, you name it. I think that'd be great to have these around on our roads. Cool. All right, so that's the Peugeot van, and you've got some Model 3 news too. Why not?
Yeah. So we'll sort of finish up on the Model 3 news. Refresh spotted again. Who knows whether it is or not? But this time there were a few more details. So this was spotted in California. You can sort of see the tail light there, or the indicator is more vertical than horizontal, as it's been the case with the current generation. There's also the front lights in one of the photos. This is from a video, so you can sort of see it approaching the rear view mirror. And
interesting. It's very vertical there. Let's go back to the front here. Let's have a look.
So there's a shot there. As it gets closer, you can sort of see the headlights as well are slightly, like where they've got the cutouts, it's a lot smaller than because our current generation sort of look like the Porsche's front headlights, a little bit broader and wider, where the cutouts is a lot smaller. Could possibly just be that that's where the high beams and the lights themselves are. But yeah, good to see more testing being done. And as we touched on Thursday's stream, it seems that there is factory shutdowns coming for this car to be ready for potentially Q4 delivery with hardware 4 and all the other updates that Tesla's been talking about.
Yeah, I'm still curious about this cutout, Riz, for the headlight. I mean, sure, it's cut out there, but then you look a bit beyond that, you can see it's actually still quite triangular.
Yeah, that's what I sort of thought as well, because we've seen some of those other photos a couple of months ago where they had lifted the whatever tarp or cover it was under, and it was a little bit more Roadster Model S like lights. Yeah, they've concealed it pretty well, even in that shot. So
yeah,
there is some changes coming, but I guess we'll find out.
yeah, we'll try and keep you guys updated on our stream every week as more of these shots and hints come out. As we've touched on already today, I think we're pretty close sometime this year with the update, possibly even with hardware 4 as well. So we shall see when it's finally unveiled. As with most things Tesla is, they don't really, do a show and dance. They just sort of next day it's on the order page. There you go, refresh. So, and we've seen in the past, Friday is Tesla Friday in Australia. So
yes,
keep those refresh buttons hot. You never know. Gaffer saying we need man in a van options for tradies in the EV space for Oz. Yes, very true. And Greg saying, yep, Ioniq 6, Merc, EQE, Ioniq 5 is pretty boxy for an EV. It is actually. It's quite boxy. Very true. All right, Riz, well, I think that might be it for today. I'm very encouraged to see over 60 guests join us live. 69 guests right now at the moment. So thanks, everyone, for joining us live on an early Saturday morning here in Australia, at least on the East Coast anyway. Yeah, so it's great. And thanks also for watching us on replay and listening to us on audio podcast as well. Very, very encouraging. We'll keep doing these, Riz. I think there's enough people who wants to do it, and there's so much to talk about in the EV space, of course, every week.
It's changing, and it's really good to get everyone's sort of feedback and questions. There's so much interest in this space, and hopefully moving forward with new models coming out, we will definitely be covering them. And I think basically the next 5 months or so to close the year off, it's going to be a lot happening. MG4, Dolphin, whole lot of other models. Hopefully the Mustang as well, Marquee, be an interesting drive. So lots to talk about. And yeah, thanks for joining us, and keep the questions coming, and anything else, leave it in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Always happy to chat. And yeah, just, if you're ever feeling despondent on all the FUD out there, just have a think about how much we've improved in the EV space in the last 12 months, how far we've come, how many more models, how much more open discussion there is across all government levels, across all media. So just reflect on that, and it's just going to improve with time as we move into the rest of this year too. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. I'll just put a few more comments here. Thank you, lads. Thank you, Tom and Riz. Thank you, Tom and Riz. Thanks, guys. And Gaffer saying hit the like button to help the channel grow. Thanks, Gaffer. That's very kind of you too. Riz, have a really good day. And I shall see you, I guess, on Thursday for the next stream. Thanks, Riz. And thanks, everyone. We'll see you all very shortly indeed. Thanks. And have a good Saturday. Bye.